Yes, everybody, what's going on? My name is Stephen Howson. This is 5 things that we learned watching Manchester United fuck our chances of top 4 at Goodison Park yesterday. Number 1. Might be time for a new number 1. David De Gea has had 7 errors leading to a goal since the start of last season's Premier League. No other goalkeeper has more. In the same time, Manchester United have another goalkeeper in Sergio Romero, who's basically flawless. And we have another goalkeeper in Dean Henderson, who's absolutely ripping up the Premier League, who's only got 1 error this season, leading to a goal. He's got 9 clean sheets, and he's only 2 goalkeepers that have got more clean sheets than Dean Henderson, who's a massive part of why Sheffield United have been so hard to beat and so hard to break down this season, giving them the elevated place that they find themselves within the league. David De Gea was at fault for Manchester United's first goal the goal that we conceded, let's be honest. If he doesn't have that absolutely, and do you know what? It's not even just like, oh, that was a bit of a silly mistake. It was an absolutely catastrophic, completely avoidable, fucking ridiculous mistake that there's no excuse for whatsoever. He didn't get a bad ball. He didn't have no time on the ball. He didn't really even get pressed by like a horde of raging Tasmanian devils, did he? Like, it was pathetic. And it was such a ridiculous error that it set United off on the wrong foot, made us a little bit more desperate to try and get a goal rather than playing at that relaxed sort of tempo that we might have seen us play if we hadn't done that. It massively cost us not just the points in today's game, but it might have ended up costing us that 4th spot, which we are seemingly incapable of closing Chelsea down for. It's killing us. Let me know in the comments, do you take the jump now and say, do you know what? Dean Henderson, you are United's number 1 next season. Where does that leave De Gea? Where does that leave Sergio Romero? Who could even possibly take De Gea from us when he's on so much money? Conundrum time for United. Formidable Fernandes form, for those who love alliterations. Bruno Fernandes has been a complete and utter revelation since joining Manchester United. Today's goal had a 2% chance of going in according to Understat and the expected goals model. 2% chance. It was ridiculous. He didn't even take a first touch. He just allowed it to run across his body and was like, fucking have it. Brilliant goal. Unbelievable finish, which completely ruled out any hope whatsoever of Pickford saving it. That now gives him 5 goal contributions in the last 5 games. 3 goals, 2 assists. Outrageously good return from a midfielder. Like, I honestly thought, you know, he's got pretty good stats. There's no way they're going to completely translate to what he was doing in Portugal. Oh yeah, fucking watch it. Today, Bruno had the most passes for United in the attacking third. He had 7 ball recoveries. He had the most tackles on the pitch. This is a complete midfielder. This isn't just someone that's doing it at one end of the pitch. And it's things that there's no stats for. When he just completely allows the ball to run past him and allow someone else to pick it up behind him. Things like that which are creating chances, wrong-footing defenders and just advancing United up the pitch. He's an extremely intelligent footballer who's so close to unlocking the key for not just himself, but for other people on the pitch as well. If we had better players in and around him, he's going to look even better, and that is the scariest thing. What happens when Rashford comes back? What happens if he ever actually gets the chance to play with Paul Pogba? What happens if we bring in an absolutely belting number 9? What happens if we bring in someone like Jadon Sancho? Bruno Fernandes is going to look absolutely, frankly, ridiculous. We might have our own version of De Bruyne in here, and there is no higher compliment than that, I don't think. I think De Bruyne is the best midfielder in the country, and I think Bruno Fernandes might not be far behind him. Number 3, Luke Shaw looks like he is fighting for his spot. So then Luke Shaw in today's match had quite a few things that he led the stats for. He had the most successful passes with 46, most chances created with 3, second most attacking third passes with 15, most ball recoveries with 9, 100% tackle completion with 3 out of 3, and 1 block. Credit where credit is due. Luke Shaw actually had a great game today. And I think previously he's had all right games. But people love to blow it all up out of proportion and say, oh, that was amazing because he did what he was expected to do. I thought he was a little bit better than expected to do today. I thought he was good. And I thought he stepped into the possibly even being very good sort of scenario. They didn't look like he was a weakness. They looked like they was targeting him a little bit with the aerial threat early on, but that sort of subsided very early on in the first half. And Luke Shaw looks like he's coming into a little bit of form. Played a couple of positions. Looks like he's actually bothering his ass to do something at the opposite end of the field as well, which is what I thought Brandon had the the line on him with, because he actually does make things happen in the other end of the pitch. Maybe even Brandon might still be a good option when we want to play a narrow 4-4-2 like we played today. Someone that is going to get into the box a little bit, because I think at times Luke didn't manage to get completely in the box, but he was still working hard and he still had an excellent contribution both going forward and defensively, so no complaints whatsoever today on Luke Shaw. Good performance all around. Number 4, it was another opportunity missed for Manchester United. Wolves have now drawn level with us after beating Tottenham Hotspur, but it has shown up the frailties that Tottenham have got, and maybe we can hopefully go and take advantage of those ourselves in a couple of games' time. The opportunity was there for Manchester United to close the gap to Chelsea to 1 point. 1 point, and you'd have to think with the form that we were in, that 1 point would have been something that we can definitely overcome. Actually, we've got a better form than both Leicester and Chelsea. What is it about this Manchester United team? When it seems to come to the crunch, we seem to fall. Or when it seems to come to the crunch over Chelsea, at least. Because in the big games, Manchester United have been really good under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So what is it about not being able to get into the top 4 that we just can't seemingly get over? Is that consistency just where we're failing as a football team because we just don't have the quality? Do we like the leadership? Do we like the experience? What is it? Because I can't quite work out why we're unable to really push on and put together any sort of consistency. Chris Kavanagh was, well, he was shit, let's be honest. This isn't an excuse for a poor result from Manchester United, although I don't know if I would have took a draw to begin with. Probably not in the grand scheme of things, but this is a tough place to go from a team that is in form. The referee just lost control of the game. There was that little incident with Luke Shaw where he ended up booking Luke Shaw for, all I can see is getting fucking fouled and then getting started on. I mean, that alone was an absolute piss take. There was the handball that wasn't given or even referred to VAR, which may have had a... And this is the thing, right? When people like to start kicking off about VAR and how United got away with it, with what happened at the end of the game, which I'll talk about in a second, they don't talk about the things that don't get referred to VAR, because I don't think VAR's got a decision wrong when it's been reviewed. Not one. Not one do I think they've got wrong. What I think they get wrong with VAR is what they choose to refer to VAR. Now, how did you not refer the Richarlison handball to VAR? Because his hand's away from the body. We've seen this so many times. That is a penalty that wasn't given. And that's the issue with it. It's when you go or don't go to VAR. Then there was also the incident with Fred on the edge of the box, which Fred got booked for, which hits his knee. Now, that was given as a free kick. Right inside the D. If that had gone in, that's a goal that stands from a clear wrong decision from the referee. Let alone the fact that in that little incident just before half-time, he gave out 4 yellow cards. He didn't have a fucking clue what was going on. He sent Ancelotti off at the end. We saw him completely shit his pants with everything else that happened in the game. He didn't have a fucking clue what was going on with whether it was offside, wasn't it offside. He had to go and talk to the linesman. It seemed like he didn't know the rules of the game. Now, VAR did rule out the goal for offside at the end, and I've seen so many people that have coming out and saying, trying to say line of sight and this, that and the other. There's nothing in the rules that mentions line of sight, only obstruction of vision. Now that can be interpreted in a million different ways, and that's the problem with some of these rules, is that they are massively open to interpretation. For me, I wouldn't have been upset if it had been given. I wouldn't have said that's an absolute fucking disgrace. But at the same time, I go, well, yeah, he's in the way of the goalkeeper. I can see why that would have been given as offside. It's one of them. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. There's also some stuff going on in the Patreon group with Angel Gomez's contract that you definitely need to check out. And also the Stretford Paddock FC is for sale over on the website. It ships worldwide. There's also the training kit which is out there as well. If you fancy any of those, the link for that, the link for Patreon, all that sort of stuff is in the description. Cheers for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Laters.